Hello again on uh, November the 9th, 2019, the 30th anniversary of the fall of or opening of the Berlin Wall. I still want to commemorate at least some or several of the 140 plus victims who died trying in various ways to get either over or across or under or through the Berlin Wall. The last known victim was Mr. Winfried Freudenberg. He was born in August 1956 and died on March the 8th, 1989, tragically just 8 months before the Berlin Wall was opened. He was 32 years old. He fell from an improvised gas balloon at high altitude over West Berlin. He was born in Osterwieck and grew up in the Saxony-Anhalt town of Lütgenrode, near what was then the border between his native East Germany, which was then a part of the communist Eastern Bloc as a satellite state of the Soviet Union and West Germany. He apprenticed as an electrician and obtained his secondary education diploma in night school, then trained in information technology, receiving a diploma as electronics engineer. In the autumn of 1988, he married his wife Sabine, a chemist he had met while both were students at Ilmenau University. Since East Germany cut them off from the professional opportunities that existed in the West, the couple, especially Winfried, had become increasingly disappointed about being unable to cross the border. Immediately after the wedding, the two began planning their escape to the West by a homemade balloon filled with natural gas. Because its main component, methane, is lighter than air, natural gas can serve as a lifting gas. As part of their plan, Freudenberg took a job in a public utility also supplying natural gas, and the two took an apartment in the East Berlin neighborhood of Prenzlauer Berg. In January and February 1989, they began assembling a 13-meter tall by 11-meter diameter balloon envelope out of polythene, which they cut into strips, taped together, and girded with a string net. There was no basket, only a narrow wooden beam. On the evening of March the 7th, they decided that the wind conditions were favorable for their escape. They drove to a pressure-regulating station in Blankenburg, a neighborhood to which Freudenberg had the keys, and at midnight began to fill their balloon with gas. From sometime after 1 a.m., the balloon was visible from a distance. A waiter on his way home from work, which had ended at 1:30 a.m., noticed the balloon and called the Volkspolizei, or the East German People's Police. When the couple heard a patrol car arrive at 2 a.m., the balloon was not yet completely filled. Because they feared it would not lift both of them, they quickly decided for Freudenberg to escape, his wife always having been doubtful. He occupied the beam and cut the teethers. With only one person aboard, the balloon had a very high buoyancy and rose fast. The last bags hanging down on lines severed a power line shortly after launching and caused it to shortcut and spark. Although East German security had often shot and killed citizens attempting to escape, they decided against shooting because of the possibility of triggering an explosion of the natural gas now leaking. Also, they believed Freudenberg to have been killed by the current, which was not the case. Freudenberg's 23-year-old wife was able to get back home where the Stasi, or the notorious East German secret police, were already waiting for her. However, since the balloon had too much buoyancy, it rose much faster, and because there was no properly working valve in the improvised balloon, much higher than planned. Freudenberg couldn't sink and spent over 5 hours in the air. At first, the course was west-southwest. With wind velocities of about 20 kilometers per hour at the time, he must have reached West Berlin after about 20 minutes. Later, Freudenberg passed over the Berlin-Tegel airport, where he lost or dropped some ballast. His altitude must at this point have increased to more than 2,000 meters or 6,500 feet, as his course now changed to south due to different direction higher altitude winds. The balloon was sighted over Teufelsberg Hill at dawn, where it was mistaken for a weather balloon. Shortly before flying into East German territory again at 7:30, Freudenberg fell into the garden of a villa in the suburb of Zehlendorf. The balloon's remains came down about 1 kilometer away on the median strip of a thoroughfare. Freudenberg's body was discovered only hours later. He evidently died instantly from injuries sustained in the crash. Almost nearly everybody, nearly each of his bones had been broken and virtually every internal organ had been damaged. The crash's direct cause was not clear. West Berlin police supposed that Freudenberg climbed the net to cut the envelope, in which he obviously succeeded, and in the ensuing events lost his hope. After the incident, East German police investigated the friends, family, acquaintances, and colleagues of Freudenberg and his family to determine whether any had participated in the escape attempt. Because of the international attention and pressure over the recent shooting of Chris Efroy, the last refugee to be shot by East German border guards, Sabine Freudenberg was given the relatively lenient sentence of 3 years of probation and then granted amnesty in October 1989. In November 1989, East Germany began allowing its citizens to travel to the West, and several months after the Berlin Wall was dismantled, Berlin Wall was dismantled, and in October 1990, the two Germanys reunified.